I don't know anything about business. Didn't go to college. Neither of my parents went to college when I was young. They were like, you're going to have to figure it all out. And so start figuring it out. So I started selling baseball cards. I sold garbage bags door to door. Then I sold candy door to door. Then I had my own crew of kids selling candy when I was like 16. So then I was starting to make some money. Like once I learned how to sell, like the garbage bags, I was fearless. So magazines door to door. And who says no to a kid, right? If you tell your wife that you're spending 75 cents a week for the education and enjoyment of your family, is she going to be upset or is she going to be proud of you? Bam, bam, bam. And once I could sell them, right? And it's just like people coming out of work and there I am hustling candy bars, right? Once people realized I could sell, they were like, okay, now you can drive. Why don't you take these kids around and show them? And then from there, that's what gave me confidence. Like, because once you can sell, it's like when you guys got started here, right? You guys are ball players, you want to do this, but then there's the business side of it. And the hardest part is selling, right? Yeah. Having the confidence to say, okay, this is why we're good and this is why you should be a sponsor and this is why you should work with us. I had none of that fear. That's my big game shot. When it came down to just being able to close the deal, I was fearless. And to this day, man, I'll walk in anywhere, anytime, any place, and I'll sell and I'll close.
Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because running the business is hard, and waking up every day and getting to work when you're all by yourself is hard. And the thing that saved me, that continues to inspire me, motivate me, give me hope, inspiration, ideas, is looking at the stories of people who've done a lot more than me. And I learn strategies, I get motivation, and it gets me to believe in myself to go off and attack the day. And so I hope this video inspires you to do the same as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Mark Cuban, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is analyze your competitors.
You've said that business is the ultimate sport.
Yeah, it is.
Explain what you mean by that.
In basketball, you play 82 games plus the playoffs. You know who you're going to play. You have time to prepare. There's an off season. You get some time off. In business, you don't even know who your competition may be.
Yeah.
And you're competing with them 24/7, by 365, by forever. If I start a business and you're in my industry, I'm coming to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And if you start a business and you're in my industry, I'm coming to kick your ass, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why I keep on investing in companies, starting companies, whatever it may be, because that competitive side of me, that's where the juices flow.
Yeah.
And it's just that ongoing, nonstop intellectual challenge to be great at whatever industry I'm in. Mm-hmm. Doesn't always work.
But your goal is to be great.
You're not gonna go 82-0 in business either. So
everybody thinks they know what it means to be an entrepreneur or be a businessman, but it actually feels like a very specific thing when you really think about it.
To be an entrepreneur,
Yeah. How would you describe it?
You've got to be willing to be all in, right? In sports, you can be athletically gifted, right? And that'll carry you a while. And then, if you want to be one of the top 450, it's not only being athletically gifted, it's, what's your skill set and how do you work on it and what's your basketball IQ. Mm-hmm. And business is very similar, except that it's ever changing. Mm-hmm. We talk about, three-point play and analytics change basketball some and, less than the big man, whatever. In business, it's changing every day.
Yeah.
There's some new technology, there's some new approach, there's some new rule, there's some new tax law, whatever it may be. So the rules are always changing. And so you've got to be curious, you've got to be agile, you've got to be able to sell, you've got to be able to communicate, you've got to be empathetic, you've got to be considerate, you've got to be nice. There's all these different skills that come together to be good as an entrepreneur.
Rule number 3 is stop getting paid by the hour.
Anybody who's working and getting paid by the hour is going to have a challenge when something goes wrong. Right? Do you lose a job? Does the dishwasher break? Does somebody get sick? Is it more than your deductible, or if you haven't covered your deductible yet, can you cover your deductible? If you're getting paid by the hour, it's hard to save money. I don't care if it's $10 an hour, $15 or $50 an hour. It's a difficult position. The only way that people really improve their wealth is by buying a house, condo, whatever it may be, owning shares of stock. And so I think that's where you start to change the rules.
Rule number 4 is put in the effort.
In Ratatouille, the chef says, anyone can cook. Do you believe, Mark Cuban, that anyone can be an investor and an entrepreneur?
Yes, of course. I think we're all inherently entrepreneurs. It's just you have to find the thing that you're good at so you can be a successful entrepreneur.
And what would you say, in addition to luck, is the best, most valuable trait that can really help someone survive?
Effort. Yeah, for entrepreneurs, it's effort because it's nonstop. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what tomorrow is going to be. You know, your business may be crushing it, and then somebody makes a mistake on the term of their notes at Silicon Valley Bank, and the next minute you go from, I'm on top of the world, to how am I going to make payroll? That's the nature of being an entrepreneur.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is build trust.
We're partnering with a lot of independent pharmacies so that we won't just be mail order, and we'll start a test on that March 1st. And the goal is, again, to allow patients to get their medications how, where, when they want them at a price they can afford.
So do you think that basic model of a transparent set markup works for branded drugs?
Yes, absolutely. You guys know, manufacturing and selling generics, the distortions you face with PBMs and insurance companies. The fact that an insurance company wants you to price your generic at even sometimes above a brand price is insane. It is just absolutely freaking insane. And we're just gonna say, F that shit, sorry, you know, it's just not gonna happen. And it's not about the patients anymore. And so you've got these big companies that are vertically integrated that have hundreds of subsidiaries that play left pocket, right pocket. You know, we're going to be an accumulator. We're going to be the switch. We're going to be this, and they take a little piece here and there, and then they do everything they can to distort the information chain. Right? We're not giving you your own data about your own the drug you manufacture. So for brands, there are so many games that have to be played unless you have, you know, a unique drug like Keytruda, like we were talking. Otherwise, you're at the mercy. And what's happening is the PBMs in particular have done a phenomenal job of demonizing Teva, all the manufacturers, generic and brand. Now every patient in the world thinks you guys are the bad guys. Brand manufacturers, they're the bad guys. That's wrong. Not that they're, you know, harmless, and not that they always do things right, but it's just wrong that you've been demonized like that. That's why transparency is so important, because no patient is trying to find the net effective drug price that you're being paid to say who's the bad person in all of this. They just want to know what their cost is, what their availability is, and what hoops they have to go through. Well, now you just look it up, brand or generic, on costplusdrugs.com. You know what our cost is. 2, you know it's not the manufacturer that's creating the problem, because here's the price that they're selling to Cost Plus at. And so for a brand name, it's even worse for them than it is for you. And so we want to solve that problem. And then in terms of support that the patient gets with hubs, the games that are paid, you know, just to get information back is insane. You know, it's like people forgot about the patient. We want to make it easier for you, brand manufacturers, to be able to say to anybody that comes to you, go to Cost Plus Drugs, you see what they're paying us, you see that this is the right price, and you can trust it. Because that really is our biggest product. That's what we truly sell at Cost Plus Drugs, and that's trust.
Rule number 6 is play smart.
I never ever thought in terms of money, okay, I need to make millions. I always thought in terms of time. Has always been my driving motivation. How can I control my own destiny? How can I control my own time? I started a company called Micro Solutions, and from there we just grew and grew and grew and ended up selling that. And that's how I got my first stacks. So here's the rundown of when I sold Micro Solutions for $6 million. So $1 million went to employees, $2 million to a partner I brought in, $2 million to me. I live like a student, but the first thing I did was buy a lifetime pass on American Airlines, and I just went all around the world taking friends and partying like a rock star. Other than the Air Pass, I wasn't just buying, I was saving it. I could have gone out and bought a bigger house, bought a nicer car. I didn't care. What it bought me was freedom. I never thought I was going to work again. I'd made a ton of money in the stock market. I was worth $20+ million. Life was good. Then one of my buddies from college, Todd Wagner, sat down with me, and this was in 1995. He was like, there's this whole new thing called the internet. There's got to be a way we can use this to listen to Indiana basketball. We set up this website called AudioNet, and the next thing you know, video comes along, and we turned it into a company called Broadcast.com. And so we started what turned out to be the very first streaming company. On July 18th, 1998, we went public, and we're guessing, what's the stock going to open at? And I was the high. I'm thinking $33. Goes $62.75. All of a sudden, I'm worth $300 million plus. And I'm sitting there thinking, if this stock price triples, I'm a billionaire. Well, we took that company and became the biggest media portal on the internet. And Yahoo came along and made us an offer. And all of a sudden, that stock price tripled, and I was a billionaire.
Rule number 7 is make an impact.
What role do you think billionaires should play in terms of making the world better?
I'm not going to tell someone else what to do with their money. Everybody's got to decide who they are. But I think it really comes down to how you define capitalism. To me, capitalism isn't about how much money can you make. Capitalism means how much impact can you make. Mm-hmm. If you can be an entrepreneur and start a company, where do you get your satisfaction? And satisfaction can come from, how much money do you have? It can come from, how much have you changed the world? It can come from, how have you changed the lives of 7 people that were important to you? Mm-hmm. But that's the beauty of a capitalist system. The bad side is, I think we've defined it for so many people that it's just about money. Yeah. It's not about impact. And that's one of the reasons I do Shark Tank, because we send the message that the American dream is alive and well. And I personally try to send the message that, a company can have incredible amounts of impact on people. I did a deal last year with Erica, this company called No Limbits, Limbits, and she has a prosthetic leg, and she started creating fashion for people with prosthetics. It's just, and it's small now, but it's going, yeah. And every single one of her customers, she's impacting their lives and making it better. Mm-hmm. You see that every time with businesses. And so to her, to me, and to many others, capitalism is your opportunity to use your own skills and and to grind it in your way to have an impact. And, mm-hmm. To me, that's the way to go, but I'm not going to tell somebody else how to go.
Rule number 8 is be quick.
As opposed to the other startups that have appeared over the last 5 to 10 years, you seem to be jumping right into some sort of vertical integration model or a parallel supply chain, I think is how you guys speak of it publicly. Of the 4 business lines, manufacturing, wholesale, pharmacy, and benefit management, which have you found to be the most challenging and why?
Manufacturing. There are a lot of shortages, as everybody knows, and so we're doing fill and finish manufacturing for drugs on the shortage list in Dallas, and it's all automated with robotics and all that, and it's always something. So we had thought we'd already be up and running, but hopefully in the next couple of months we'll get there, but that's been the biggest challenge. Yeah.
And which one do you think of those stakeholders, the benefit management, wholesaler, pharmacy, and manufacturing, do you think is the ripest for disruption? They all are. They all fit together because, again, wherever there's pricing distortion for reasons that don't benefit the patient, which is there is no pricing distortion that benefits the patient, then that's an opportunity for us to disrupt. And again, trust and transparency cures all of that. Okay. So obviously you're on a quest to increase your offering. Mm-hmm. What do you think the barriers are for that?
I think it took some time, and again, thank you to all of you who supported us at the beginning, but it took some time for people to think, okay, it's just a Shark Tank guy, he's just, messing around with this, and now people are starting to realize we're real, hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have 2 million accounts set up and growing, and the number... Patients. Patients accounts, people who set up, right?
Yeah. Families.
Right. Yeah. And lives. Yeah. And so, and the number of scripts and orders keeps on growing and coming in and accelerating. And so, we're just going to keep on seeing where it takes us because, again, I have the saying, when you run with the elephants, there's the quick and the dead. And so we have to be quick. And I don't think we're impacting anybody else's business in a big way, but we'll get there.
Rule number 9 is value your time.
I told you I value time. First thing I bought, Gulfstream G5. Now, I didn't just buy it. I'm a tech guy. I go online and I'm like looking up Gulfstream G5, email the guy and I'm like, can I do a test flight? First time I'd ever been on a private plane. Sitting there and I'm thinking, this could be my plane. So I stacked up some more and I sent him an email saying, done. $40 million. I'll buy it. Biggest online purchase in the history of the internet still to this day was my buying that Gulfstream G5. Why'd I want a plane? Because the most valuable asset you can never own is your time. And the one thing I can do is save time and get to places, and it was amazing.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is create transparency.
First time you put your name on something, Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs Company.
First time ever.
All right. Tell me why. Why put your name on this company?
Because it's 2023 in the United States of America, and there's still people who have to choose between medications, rent, and food. And that's insane. And so when you start looking at the industry and start asking why, it goes back to it's such an opaque industry where there's zero transparency. And it's funny because we started this 4 years ago, but only actually launched it 13 months ago. And a lot of it was because the Pharma Bro Shkreli, right? I was talking to my partner.
Pharma Bro Shkreli.
Yeah, right.
Deep cut.
Yeah. And so I was talking to my partner, Dr. Oshmayansky, and I was like, look, if this pharma dude can increase prices 7,500%, that means there's got to be such a market distortion going on.
Yeah.
We should be able to cut prices in the same manner. And so starting with generics, we've gone out and put together an inventory list so far of 1,100 SKUs, but the key to it is transparency. So when you go to costplusdrugs.com and you put in the name of your medication, whatever it may be.
Example?
So imatinib, right, which is a drug for chemotherapy. And so you put in imatinib, and the first thing that comes up is our cost. We show you exactly what we pay for it. Then we show you our markup, which is 15%. Then we show you what we charge for the pharmacy, what to pay the pharmacist, right, the fill fee, and then the shipping, because we're mail order. That's it. You see exactly what we pay our markups. You know exactly what it is. And because of that simplicity of transparency, our pricing is, in some cases, insanely less. So with imatinib, before we got in this business, if you were prescribed imatinib, and like, you know how it typically goes when you get a prescription from your doctor. Doctor says you need this medication, right?
To survive, because you're getting chemotherapy.
Right, and just, it could be anything, right? And then the next question is, what pharmacy do you use?
Yep.
It's not, this is what it's going to cost. It's not, and the crazy part is, even the pharmacist doesn't know what they're going to charge you until you show up and you show the prescription.
Oh, hey, and then you're like, oh, I thought this was covered.
Right, and so in the case of imatinib, people were getting charged more than $2,000
for a life-saving medicine.
For a life-saving medication. We've had a bunch of price cuts. I think our price now, depending on the strength, is $12.
Wow. Which is. I mean, I rarely want to use this word, but that's sinful.
It is sinful. You know, it's insane, and it's only because the entire healthcare industry, but particularly pharmaceuticals, is opaque. Nobody knows the actual cost of anything.
COVID, you have said, has changed the world in terms of opportunities. It's obviously hurt people, but it's obviously helped people who are entrepreneurial. So you've said this is a good time to actually figure out new businesses, new areas of business. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, you know, it's so unfortunate, but it's true. I mean, you know, we've heard Warren Buffett say, you know, buy when there's blood in the streets. And it's almost analogous here. So many small businesses are closing. So many, you know, retail stores are closing. Malls are you know, going bankrupt. Companies that are unable to transition to selling digitally or really taking full advantage of e-commerce are struggling. Big companies aren't sure about how to protect their legacy businesses. That type of uncertainty creates a lot of opportunity. And combine that with people becoming far more comfortable with purchasing online and living a digital lifestyle, I think there's a lot of unique opportunities that are available to people who are creative, who have a vision for the future. I think, 10, 15, 20 years, we'll look back and there'll be 10, 20, 30 world-class companies that were created by people who we probably are thinking are crazy right about now.
When I look for leadership, I look for a few things. One, it's somebody who can relate to people, someone who can define a vision, someone who is nice, and someone who recognizes that it truly comes down to helping people achieve their personal goals and aligning those with the goals of the organization. If you can take the goals of your organization, whether it's your company or somebody you work for, and align them with the interests of the people that work for you, you'll be a great leader. And you also have to recognize, in this day and age, people aren't looking for lifetime jobs at a company. They want jobs that'll help them improve their own skill set so they can find a better place in life that they enjoy. And if you help people realize their personal goals like that, great things will happen for you as a leader.
What's the worst idea you've ever had?
So like right out of school, I got fired from a job, and then I was trying to come up with something to sell, and it was powdered milk. And it was just, I'm like, well, people need to save money on milk. So, if it doesn't taste quite as good, no, I learned the hard way. That didn't last a week. What other shit have I fucked up? I mean, it's just, I'm like everybody else still, right? It's just like, you'll think of something.
Yeah.
And you'll start thinking about it, and then you'll Google it, right? And you'll see if it's out there. It's not, no one's done this before. Then you'll tell your guys or your friends, like, okay, that's not bad.
Gain a little traction that way, a little traction, bit of confidence. Yeah.
But then you got to try to actually get someone to buy it, right? And that's always the hard part. And what people forget, when you go out there and start Googling and it's not there, there's a pretty good chance it's because they went out of business, right? And it's already been there. But I've had plenty of bad ideas. But that's okay, man. Like I tell everybody, you only got to be right once.
Yeah.
No one remembers
100%.
like how many times I screwed up. Just got to be right once.
My biggest regret was I wasn't as nice as I should have been. In my mind, I didn't suffer any fools, right? If I didn't think you were using common sense, then I would get annoyed. And no one liked to be around me when I was annoyed. And for me, it was just like faster, 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 faster. The train's speeding up. How fast can we go? That was a huge regret that I would do over again. I think with the Mavericks, when we had our problem with sexual harassment, and I wasn't there to oversee it, I thought by that point in time I wasn't, like today, I didn't go into the office ever. And so I missed it, and it hurt a lot of people, and that was awful. So I'd say, those two things are probably the lowlights of my career.
Thinking about the next big opportunity in the cryptocurrency space, and to your credit, you were around for DeFi summer. DeFi was a big opportunity in 2020. You were early in saying Ethereum and NFTs is, possibly going to be really big, and it was really big. After cryptocurrency finds a bottom, do you have any thoughts about the next big opportunity in the space?
It just comes down to applications. If you guys got great ideas, I'm wide open, right? I'm tired of the bullshit pitches I'm getting, like new DeFi for new, there's a great analogy between what happened in Silicon Valley with SaaS software and other applications, even like Uber, right? Where tons of money came in and subsidized all these apps. Uber is just now starting to make money 15 years, whatever it is, 12 years later. There's other apps that same thing. And so what happened with apps, like I was an investor in Box, and I actually wanted them to just generate revenue as opposed to raise money to subsidize free online storage. And so they went their way, they bought me out, and it took them, I don't even know how many years for them to make money. I'm never a big fan of raising hundreds of millions of dollars to do tens of millions in business, but that's exactly what happened in crypto. But crypto was distorted because people looked at the token valuations. And so what would happen is they go out and do a token sale and generate a bunch of capital, or even worse, they'd raise hundreds of millions of dollars from VCs and use that money to create a fake yield, right? We saw that with Anchor, right? Where it was like, okay, we're offering you 20%. And then they hope that they'd be able to generate enough loans to cover the 20%. Never came close. All that yield was subsidized. All those 5, 7, 8, 10, 20, 50, 90, 100% yields have always been subsidized by investors. Now with those investors not willing to subsidize anymore, you're not seeing the crazy yields. And you're not even seeing the inflationary yields from the blockchains anymore. Where you would say, okay, if you stake this, we're going to pay you 4% or 8% or 12%. And they can't even afford to do that because, if you inflate too much, there's not enough intrinsic demand to cover that inflation, and your token price is going to drop. And that makes your investors mad. That makes your speculators mad. And it ignores the fact that to be a real business, you have to be a real business. And crypto doesn't change any of that. The best money I ever spent was when I bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines. Right after I sold my first company, I got really, really inebriated with a bunch of my really good friends. And they were all like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And, I'm not a fancy guy, as you can tell. I'm not into this and that, but I like to travel. I like to have fun. And I bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines for $125,000, which let me travel 100,000 miles, I think, a year for the rest of my life. So if all of a sudden I turn 20 years old with $20 in my pocket in this crazy year, 2020, could I be successful again? The answer is yes. And I'll tell you exactly what I would do. I'd get any job at all that allows me to pay my bills. Doesn't matter what it is, because now I know I can learn from anything that I do. Number two, now that I have a little bit of a tech background, or a lot of tech background, I teach myself to do Amazon Alexa and Google Home skills. A lot of people have Amazon Alexa in particular, and they know how to use it generically, but they don't know how customizable it is. So I would, just like I did back in the days when I started Micro Solutions, and I went to all these different retail stores, handing out my business cards saying, if you ever have questions or need help with PCs and computers, I'm your guy. I would do the same thing now.
How do you do all of this? I mean, honestly, like your schedule between the Shark Tank, all those companies doing like these things. I mean, like, what time are you waking up in the morning?
5:36.
Like, what's the day? Like, give me a day in the life of you.
I probably should admit this, but like, I'll get up at 5:36, particularly during the school year when my kids are going to school.
You have 3 kids,
yeah,
too.
12, 15, and 18, yeah.
Are you involved? Do you see these kids? Because
yes.
How are you able to do all of this?
I don't travel that much unless they're out doing stuff. So
really?
like right now, my middle daughter, Alyssa's at camp. My wife and my youngest son, Jake, who's 12, are in Iceland right now. They went on a trip because while I'm shooting Shark Tank, that's when they all know to go do their trips.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And then my oldest is on a trip as well. So with her class. And so so while we're shooting, they're gone. And so that's when I pack everything in.
And then you do everything.
Yeah. But otherwise, I can do 1-day trips here or 1-day trips there because, I'd rather spend time with my family.
So you are like, you spend a lot of time with your,
yeah, of course. That's
both?
the best part of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me the day. Give me your day. Like you wake up at, you said 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so wake up, 5:36, say hi to everybody, get everybody going to school if that's what's up. And then do my email and typically get back in bed, do my email, get through any emergencies, go back, take a nap.
I think now I've really evolved some of my focus to trying to help disadvantaged entrepreneurs, people who have less opportunity. I just invested with a woman, Arlen Hamilton, who we've together created a little $1 million fund where she's going out and finding 10 businesses run by people of color or disadvantaged LGBTQ type communities and just opening doors, because I think my experience applies to anybody, right? Any entrepreneur, no matter what you're trying to sell. And I also think that it's a great business opportunity simply because the markets that they want to sell to are underserved. There just aren't as many entrepreneurs, so there's more opportunity. And so I think it makes great business sense as well.
I have a question for you. Do you think that like people, like, because I also know that you kind of came from nothing.
Just
like
normal family, yeah.
You weren't handed anything.
No, nothing.
Do you think it's harder for people now to reach the level of success that you have because of saturation?
No. I think it's easier.
You think it's easier now?
I think it's easier. I mean, let's look at y'all, right? You all have good idea, good connection to people, right? Just went for it. And when other people might say you do A, B, and C, or you should do A, B, and C, you did D, E, and F, right?
Yeah.
And found your angle. And, the only thing that can stop you is, would it work, or, was it a good idea or not? And that's the thing, like you have so many tools. Like back in the day, you had to buy these big computers and, it was more expensive. Now you get a laptop or an iPad and you get an internet connection and you can have any tech company
world's
you
yours
want.
right now, I think.
Yeah.
Social media too.
And I mean, look what we're doing now, right? We're doing this and you're going to have it up on YouTube and streaming it and millions of people are going to be able to get to it.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're spending millions of dollars like a TV show or a movie would have been 25 years ago, right? It's actually easier. Now, on one hand, the tools are cheaper and more accessible. The other hand, there's more competition.
Whether in business or sports, when building your team, are you more interested in getting someone who is an expert at something, or would you rather have someone with more potential? Question of the day. Olivier, I want an expert. Everybody's got potential. Everybody. I want someone who knows something. Give me someone who knows their shit every time, because then I can turn it into something real. The key to being successful and achieving your dreams, no matter what they are, is finding something you really, really like to do and being great at it. When you're great at something, you get to write your own ticket. So I'm always going to hire the expert. If you just have potential, chances are you're working for the expert.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag Believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Ray Dalio, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Know yourself, follow your passion, make your work and passion the same thing while considering the money part, because money will get you freedom and choice.